Hey, final exams, what's up? It's a culture detective here investigating your favorite movies, and today I need to film this review as soon as possible because I am going to go out and study for my final exams. In the next few days, I can't release any videos on YouTube because I really need to study. Seriously, I haven't been doing much studying in the last few days, and I really need to do that shit. So anyways, today I'm going to be doing a movie review on a film I watched last night, and that film is Evil Does Not Exist, written and directed by Hamaguchi Ryusuke. And in Japanese, it's called Aku wa Sonzai Shinai, which literally means evil does not exist. So, hey, hats off for the English translation of the title to literally mean exactly what the Japanese title suggests. Yes. So yeah, I have been extremely hyped to watch this film. I've been wanting to watch this film since early last year, and that's because of Drive My Car. Back in December 2021, the last film I saw in the theaters before I came to LA to study film is Drive My Car. And I was really scared going into that film. It's a 3 hour slow burn. Ooh, am I gonna fall asleep? No! No, no, no. Drive My Car is a masterpiece. It is an extremely contemplative, philosophical character study, and multiple characters are being studied here. But essentially, what's amazing about Drive My Car is that the characters are like pieces of art. And because of its slowness and because of the realism of the film, it makes you feel that the people around you have the same mystifying depth to them, which is exactly why I really like Drive My Car. And also Burning, the same film, which is based off of a story written by Japanese writer Murakami Haruki. Yes. So, Drive My Car, I loved it. I loved it after the first time I saw it, and the more I think about Drive My Car, the more I like it even more. So at this point, if you ask me what are my favorite films of the decade so far, I would say Drive My Car is in the top 5. So obviously the stakes are now really high for Hamaguchi Ryusuke because Drive My Car won an Oscar for Best International Picture and has also been very critically acclaimed. On top of that, you need to put Hamaguchi's other works into context as well, because in the same year he released Drive My Car, he also released a 2 hour humane drama about relationships called Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, and on top of that, he has a myriad of slow human films under his belt, including the 5 hour long epic drama that is Happy Hour, as well as Asako 1 and 2, released in 2018. However, Evil Does Not Exist is a slight change in pace. Not only is this film a bit shorter at 2 hours long, it's a bit shorter than the usual Hamaguchi Ryusuke, but also this isn't the contemplative human drama that you would look for in a Hamaguchi film. This feels more like a situational slow burn with a bit of mystery and a little bit of thriller sprinkled in the story. Now, I almost was able to watch this film last year when I went back to Hong Kong and they organized a Hong Kong Asian Film Festival. One of the films to be screened is Evil Does Not Exist. But of course, the tickets were immediately sold out within the same day, and I wasn't able to see the film at all. But I'm happy that I'm able to see it last night with the Q&A of Hamaguchi Ryusuke himself. Yes, he himself has showed up at the end of the screening last night, and I'm really happy. It's almost a little surreal to be able to see the writer-director of that film show up right after the film, and that's kind of awesome. So that's really cool. So let me talk about what I expected and what I didn't expect. Before going to the film, I saw the trailer, and I legit thought that Hamaguchi's making a murder mystery. Maybe not exactly a murder mystery, but something along the lines of that. Something related to mystery. Maybe someone dies, or something. There's something unsettling about the film that makes me think, ooh, Hamaguchi is expanding his genre. Turns out it's not that different from Drive My Car. I guess Again, the difference is that Drive My Car is centered more on humans and human relationships. This film is more situational. It's about a talent agency who, for some reason, decided to branch into glamping, which is glamorous camping, and try to develop glamping in this countryside village in Japan. And that's terrible because that destroys the environment, that pollutes the water. The glamping site is in the way of a deer trail, and it may cause wildfire, and there are many more concerns and problems. So the central premise of the film on the surface is about the environment. This is an eco film. It's about the environment, it's about the ecosystem. And so what I got from the film is wood chopping lessons, how to spot a wild wasabi, feathers, how to understand river dynamics, stuff like that. It's really interesting. And lately I've been getting into nature and films regarding nature. So Evil Does Not Exist just shows up out of nowhere and adds to that, natural film catalog. So this is really interesting. We have the town hall meeting, which is at around the second quarter of the film if you separate it into four parts, and this town hall meeting scene is 17 minutes long. It's almost like I'm watching a documentary. But not once did I ever feel bored, because learning about nature and learning about the cons and dangers of a glamping site is legitimately kind of fun and interesting. It's respectable that Hamaguchi is putting so much focus on the environmental damages of setting up a glamping site, but also just the character interactions and how someone speaks very politely, someone speaks irrationally. A woman talks about her udon shop and how she's affected, and then an older woman talks about wildfires, and it's just a plethora of characters and the way they express themselves, and also the two people, the two antagonists in this scene essentially being awkward and embarrassed. Is just a fun thing to see. Another very Hamaguchi scene regards a car scene, obviously, between those two antagonists. And it's the first time in the film, and the only time in the film, where those two antagonists became protagonists. Actually, no, there's another scene that's set in Tokyo where that also happens. But in the middle of the film, we go onto a detour where instead of focusing on these villagers living in this beautiful village, we focus on those two businessmen, or businessman and businesswoman, and we see their own lives. Turns out they're not so much villains. They're not money-loving, greedy, environment-hating villains after all. They have their own lives. They have their own goals. They have their own needs, and perhaps there is a way to reason this out. Perhaps there is a way for these two characters to reason out with these villagers and find a common ground. But obviously then that leads to the ending, which is like a giant what the fuck. I'm not going to spoil it, but the last 30 minutes of the film feels like a very strange left turn. It's a genre change, it's a tonal change, and it's a totally new plot point randomly happening. It's not unexpected, but at the same time, it is kind of unexpected. And yes, it does feel a little bit like a cop-out ending a la Burning by Lee Chang-dong. Again, I have to mention Burning. But I still really like that the ending presents us with a lot of questions, and there's a lot of room for interpretation. I go online and I see people discussing, like, oh, what happened at the end, I say that this is in some ways expected, is because tonally the film has been setting up for the ending the whole time. Since the beginning of the film, the music has been kind of weird. So let's talk about the music a little bit. The music by Ishibashi Eiko is amazing. The unsettling strings, the dissonant arrangements, the clashing chords, and the slowly swelling, ascending arpeggios near the end of the piece are absolutely fantastic. But then sometimes the music would abruptly stop, and then we would see some weird contemplative imagery, that we don't necessarily know what's the context of. Those scenes and the way those scenes are edited imply that something dark and scary is about to happen. And finally, that happens at the end. It just feels kind of out of place. But at the same time, it's enjoyable, if you know what I mean. My only gripe with the film, or I guess my major gripe with the film, is that the first 30 minutes is really, really slow. And that's usually not a bad thing. I mean, a lot of great slow films start off really slow. But um, nothing fascinating happens. There is nothing mystifying or moody about it. It's like the first half an hour is entirely carried by the music and also somewhat good, decent cinematography that uses a lot of natural lighting, which is great, exactly what this film needs, but the first 30 minutes is not strong. My favorite parts is the middle parts. The town hall meeting is fantastic. The characters eating udon in an udon restaurant, love that scene. And that's pretty much it. Go watch it. If you live in LA right now, go to AMC The Grove and watch Evil Does Not Exist and support non-English speaking cinema. I'm giving Evil Does Not Exist, or Aku wa Sonzai Shinai, a decent to strong 8 out of 10. So have you watched Evil Does Not Exist? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.